Hey guys, this is another Patreon video for you. As you guys can see, this is the Daredevil conversation that I had with Clumsy Toaster that was uploaded on the channel. However, we did end up talking for about an extra half an hour than what was uploaded on the YouTube channel. So that's here for you guys, and I've left it in its raw form, unedited, so you can hear all the weird stuff of us like talking before we sort of start doing the video and all that stuff, for like a bit of behind the scenes, as well as all the additional things that we talk about. So, enjoy.
And two. There we go.
It's going to be fun to sync these up.
Sync what up?
The audio files. Because I'm going to send you my audio file.
Oh, don't worry about it, because I just got it here. So.
Oh, okay. So I don't even need to record for this?
We'll record just in case mine dies. But
okay. Yeah, because I do notice that it was one of your things. I think it was Mr. Sunday Movies. That's also really cool that you can just call up Mr. Sunday Movies, you're featured on his channel. It's crazy. But it was with one of the
he's pretty hard to nail down.
I can't imagine why. I think it was one of the things, and the audio just cuts out in the middle thing. You make this big grand opening for Mr. Sunday Movies of all these these dancers and fireworks and confetti, and then immediately it just starts speaking. It's so this I think eliminates the element, because if there is some internet problems, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's on recording. Okay, so are you ready to start?
Yes.
Just let me. Ready. Well, you're leading. What am I talking about? Okay, you do it.
Yeah, I'll do the intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a spoiler talk discussion of Daredevil, the entire Season 1 of Daredevil. So if you haven't watched it, then pause the video, go and watch the entire 13 episodes of the whole season, and then come back. We'll just wait here.
Did you want to say who we are?
No, we have to wait for them to watch.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you know what? They can pause. Yes, this is...
want to say who we are?
This is Clumsy Toaster here with me. We're gonna
Not spelled with a B, despite what Bandit might be trying to tell you. We just did an Age of Ultron podcast on my channel. It's very exhausting, but we're gonna do Daredevil. Yeah. And if you want to watch the Age of Ultron one, you can probably click here right now or go to the description. And then we'll link it back at the end, and you'll be caught in an infinite time loop, which will destroy your mind. But forget about that, because we're talking about Daredevil.
Let's talk about Daredevil. On a scale of 1 to 17, 17 being the worst,
okay,
where would you rate Daredevil? Hang on, that's too complicated. Let's say on a scale of -5 to 19. Okay. That's reversed. Which one would you...
Okay.
Just say whether you thought it was good or not.
-5 is the worst, but -19 is the best, but 47 is good.
That's right.
47. I thought it was a 47.
I thought it was a 47 as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, I actually think that this is not only one of the best, it's downright, I don't think many people could argue, it's downright the best superhero / comic book show ever to have existed. But not only that, I think it's one of the best shows of the year, flat out, superhero or not.
I wouldn't go that far. But
I'll fight you. I
certainly think it's better.
I'm like Matt Murdock. I'll smell you. I'll smell your Australianness.
Well, we'll get into that as to why. But no, it's it's definitely great. You know how for a while there people were saying that Arrow, he's like the new Batman now? Well, when I watch Daredevil, I'm like, nah, he's kind of like the new Batman now.
Yeah, he's the new, but he's the poor Batman.
Yeah.
Although I do think Arrow borrows way too much from Batman. But
let's go through it character by character. How about that? Let's talk about Daredevil.
I do want to say before I do want to talk a little bit more about the show, just the show.
Yeah, me too.
This show has ruined everything for me. It's very similar to when I was a young lad 3 or 4 months ago. And it was not actually 3 or 4 months ago. I think I was 12 or something. And there was this whole thing where I went to Disneyland, and it was fun, and it's Disneyland, so you're like, yay, exciting. And then I went after that, I went to my local amusement park, which some of you may know if you're from this area, Great America, California's Great America, which is not a bad theme park. It's a perfectly suitable theme park, but I went there right after Disneyland, and by comparison, it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked so hard. And like for Daredevil, for me, I watched Daredevil and I'm like, great. And before that, I was really liking Gotham.
Mm.
And I watched Daredevil and I finished it, and then I went back to Gotham. I'm like, okay, good,
like,
Gotham's back. And I watched Gotham, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Same with The Flash. I was like, The Flash is really good. Watch Daredevil come back. Just, oh my god, this is so, because
I never made it past the first episode of Flash. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
The
sorry, all Flash fans. I couldn't.
The Flash is particularly, it's fun. It's campy fun. But the thing about Gotham is that it actually tries to be serious, and it's like, I can't take Gotham seriously anymore.
Well,
can't do it.
You know what? You know what though is like, you know what? Let's not try to do a structure to this video. Let's just talk about whatever.
Just chaos.
One thing that got me though is I think it was just before the episode where Styx shows up. I kind of had this moment where I thought to myself, and I was like, you know what? I was like, Daredevil's kind of not really helping anything. Because I thought about it and I was like, because that was when the whole no killing thing comes up.
I'm making disappointing. I'm making a very disappointed face at you right now, just to let you know.
No, but just hear me out. It's like, it was when the whole no killing thing came up, which I'm totally down with. I'm like, great, yes. I love my superheroes that don't kill. That's fantastic.
I don't mind. I don't mind it. Like, kill. Captain America kills. I don't mind him.
Yeah. But here's the problem, though. Like, Batman, he doesn't kill either, right? So he'll beat up the criminals, and then he'll deliver them to the cops. So he cleans up the streets by beating up the criminals.
Up and leaves them.
But the thing with Daredevil, not until the very last episode, is he doesn't have a Commissioner Gordon type of guy, but he doesn't kill either. So I was like, so he goes out, he beats up the criminals, he leaves them there, and they come back even more angry, even more. And I was like, you're not actually cleaning the streets. You're just showing up and making the bad guys even more bad, trying to find you.
It would be very hard for Daredevil to like get some rope, and then like, because that's the thing about Batman. Batman just like has a. Like, despite the whole commissioner thing, Batman has like a friggin' jet plane that he just like, oh, bat plane, Batwing, come over here and pick up all these guys, or Batmobile, and he can just load them up and drive them downtown. Yeah. Like, is Daredevil gonna like tie every guy and then like carry him one by one over to like the police department?
Well, that's why a lot of the episodes were him saving someone who was kidnapped, like whether it's a kid that's kidnapped or that girl that was like looking after his wounds and stuff is kidnapped, because that's really the only thing you can do with him. And it's like he beats up people and he like gets information. It's like, I want to get to Kingpin, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do when you get to Kingpin? You beat him up, but right now you don't have any cops to hand him over to. You got no evidence. You're not going to kill him. So what are you going to do? Just beat him up? But eventually they fixed that in the season.
No, that was one of the things. Is that that was like what the entire previous 2 episodes before the finale were building at. Yeah. Where they had a really great scene.
Well, see, now he has talking to his pastor, he's friends with.
And he's telling the story about the guy, about the chieftain of the African village, and how everyone loved this chieftain. And then all the people were going into Africa, and they were like the warlord was taking over, and he tried to get the neighbors to kill the chieftain, and they didn't do it. And then he's like, fine, I'll get my soldiers to do it. And his soldiers couldn't do it. And then so he finally goes in and sits down and has a very nice, pleasant conversation with him. And then at the end, just chops his head off and hacks him to pieces. That was the whole thing building up to that. Because the whole thing was like, he was like, if you could go back, would you kill that warlord? Like, knowing all the terrible things that he would do, would you kill one life to save another? So what Daredevil was planning on doing for like a very large portion of the show was he was planning on killing the Kingpin. Like, he didn't want to kill because he has a moral thing, but he was like, I'm going to make an exception for this one guy, because if I take out this one guy, then it's all over. So Daredevil was totally going to flat out murder the Kingpin until like the conscience got the better of him, and he's like, I can do it without killing anybody.
Yeah, but you know what else? You know what though?
But he was going to straight up murder him.
Yeah, but it's good that he didn't, because Kingpin has done more to clean the city up than Daredevil has. Think about it.
That
All
is
the Russians are gone. Daredevil didn't do that. The Kingpin did that. You know,
Exactly.
all the criminals, criminals that are getting taken out of the city, is they're fighting each other. It's not through Daredevil, not until the very end. So that's why when Stick showed up, and he's like, "Look, you got to kill people," and I was like, "Well, if you don't have a Commissioner Gordon that you can hand the criminals to after you beat them up, then yeah, you kind of do need to kill people.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
there's
this scene where he's looking out the window. He goes, "I feel like I'm not making a difference." I'm like, "You're not. You're not making a difference.
You saved a
The
kid.
Russians are like, we're just trying to do business, and this crazy guy jumps out of the shadows and beats us up all the time."
To be fair, their business is human trafficking
Yeah.
and indentured slavery. So they're not. He
And
is
drugs.
making a difference. He is saving people. Like he saved those girls in the beginning 5 minutes. Like he saved those girls from probably being like raped by being sex slaves. Like he probably saved them from like a very horrible life that they would have gone
true,
into.
but they'll just get more people.
And he also
'cause they're
saved a
not.
child.
But
Yeah,
he's
but
not
I mean,
getting them off the streets. See,
That's the problem. Is that he wants to take down Kingpin so he can eliminate everyone. Because if he takes down Kingpin, then everything falls down. It's a pyramid thing. It's a pyramid of cards. You take down the top and then just boom.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they fixed it up now, but there was a period where a couple of episodes I was thinking that, like, because now, like in the last episode, there's that cop who kind of knows that Daredevil's a good guy. So I'm like, good, he has like a Commissioner Gordon type guy that he can help work with. Because like for a while, yeah, he didn't really have any way of actually getting criminals off the street.
Now the whole city knows he's a good guy. Because like at the very end with the whole paper thing, it's like, oh, thank you, Daredevil.
Yeah.
So like now it's kind of, because the whole thing about before is like Kingpin was causing all those. Remember, Kingpin like caused the giant bombing of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
So he is not doing. He's still a very blatant bad guy. Like I do think he is helping the city on like a big standpoint, but in a way, I don't know if you saw Kingsman.
Yeah, I saw Kingsman.
I don't want to do a spoiler for Kingsman because this is not a spoilercast for Kingsman. But in the same way on how the villain in Kingsman was right, if he had gone through his plan, the world would be a much better place. He's right. It would be like the end result would be like a utopia, but it's the means, and the means are just so far out there and so cruel and so evil that it's not even worth doing. Like that's the thing. Like you're right. You would probably make this world a better place, but you are doing horrible things. We can't go through with this.
Well,
and
I think
it's the same thing with Kingpin.
Yeah, like that's the question. Like you do have to ask, like, would the city be better? Like, would the city be better? Hold on. Would the city be better if you let Kingpin run all the crime? Or would it be better if you got rid of Kingpin and then everyone's fighting each other to try to take on the new leadership? It might actually be better if you just leave Kingpin in charge, you know?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Daredevil wants to take out everyone. He wants to dismantle it all.
Yeah. But, you know, maybe it's just my personality, because also, like, not related just to the crime, like some of the other sort of moral dilemmas that they present, like throughout the show. Like, for example, when there's that flashback to where you see how Daredevil's dad died, and you know there's that whole bit where he's like, the guys are like, here, you got to take the fall, we'll give you this money. He's like, no, I'm not going to take the fall, I'm a fighter, blah blah blah. I'm watching it and I'm like, no, I'd take the money. I was like, I would take the money. I'd be like, my son's blind, I need money to look after my son. Sure, I'll take a fall. Why not?
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about his character. It's another thing where people are like, why don't the elders pay attention on Krypton? Because it's obviously everything's going to shit, and it's like everything's gonna be like bad soon. But that's kind of the point. That's the whole point, is that they're supposed to be like, we don't care, we're arrogant sons of bitches, I don't give a shit. And I think that it's a similar thing with Daredevil's dad, where he knows that it's best to take the money, and I think he accepts before turning it down in the show, because he's like, yeah, okay, but then like he sees his kid, he's like, no, I can't let him
See,
he
I
needs to
didn't
see
get that.
he
No.
needs to see his dad win for once. And
Yeah,
that's what he did, and he decides
I
that, and it costs him
understand
his
that
life.
was what he was thinking, and he's like, and I know he works out that thing where he takes all the money they were going to give him for the fall, and then he bets on himself to win, so that all that money
Which
will
is
go
another, it's a
to his
double,
son, and his
yeah,
son will be looked after. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but I think what your son needs more than a big chunk of money is his dad there.
well, to be fair, that is
you
what
can
put him
take
through
the fall,
college,
have
because it was
money, and still be there for your son. I was like, they should have written that better, because I was like, none of this needs to happen,
yeah.
and it's just kind of
What
stupid.
they failed to do, what they failed to say was like they failed to bring it up on how like every single fight, he didn't know this, but like every single fight of his career in Hell's Kitchen was fixed, and he had no idea. So that's another reason why he wanted to win for once for real,
Okay, hang on,
because they didn't delve into that. That's a more of a
I'll
comics
move it
thing.
now. Hey, hold on one sec. I just got to move my car. Hang on.
You gotta move your car. Okay, we'll edit
I'll be
this
right
out.
back. I just got to move my car.
What was I talking about? Chicken, 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 chicken nugget, chicken, 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 chicken nuggets. Hello, America. It's me, Reginald. I'd like to talk to you about HPV. It's in my penis. And now, it's in your penis too. Okay. That's it. Thank you, America. I'm Reginald. Okay, that's enough noises. Back.
Hello? You there?
There is no Grayson, only Zool.
So sorry about that, man.
Just Ghostbusters reference for you. No, it's okay. I just went on a little tangent about HPV. It's fine. That'll be fun. That'll be fun for you to edit out.
I look forward to hearing it back.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give some leeway in, so because I was in the middle of a thing, so I'll start back up where my point was.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a thing that they didn't really bring up in the show, although it's a thing in the comics, is that in the comics, Jack Murdoch finds out that every single fight he's ever done in the history of Hell's Kitchen, which is pretty much the entirety of his career, every single fight he's done had been fixed. So it wasn't just like oh, like I want my kid to see me win, which he did. And it wasn't just like, oh, I wanted him to have a bunch of this money. It was about proving to himself that he could win, because I think it was really just like he was devastated when he found out, I've never won a match legitimately in my life. Holy shit. And so he did it for the money. He did it for himself. He did it for his son. He did it for his son's future. And it did cost him his life. But I would arguably say that Matt ended up having a better life. Like, regardless of the whole Daredevil thing, regardless of all the trauma, he did end up having a better life because of what his dad did, rather than if his dad had just lost the fight like he was supposed to. He would have just been doing that for the rest of his life, making ends meet, and Daredevil would have been a homeless kid.
They didn't do a very good job of setting it up, though, and ultimately, like, I was like, leaving behind your blind son, you might need to have a better reason for dying than just, hey, I want him to see me win a fight, even though he technically can't see it anyway. Like, no, like his dad being there is more important than any of that stuff.
But financially,
like,
he was far better off.
All of the moral dilemmas. Maybe I'm just the wrong person to watch that show. Like the blonde chick, like near the beginning of the
Karen Page.
Yeah, near Karen. That's Karen Page, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like, when they offer her that deal of like never talk about this incident again. Here's a big chunk of money, and she's like, I can't do that. I can't stay silent. I'd be like, I would. I think it's about, I'd say, I'll take that money and I'll sign that thing. Who cares? But even like that, when that old lady that they were trying to save her from getting kicked out of her place, and she's like, I won't take the money to move. This is my home. I'm like, your home is a dump. Take the money and move somewhere else. So like all the moral dilemmas they presented, I was just like, just take the money.
Well, the reason that it was a dump, well, I mean, because like I think they established that her family had been there. I might just be pulling this out of my ass. I don't know, but I think I'm pretty sure that they said like her family had been there since like the early 1900s.
Yeah, but
like
see,
it's a very historical home.
But it's a cesspit.
The reason that it was a dump,
it's a cesspit. Kingpin wants to tear it down, build some nice units there, and he's compensating her to move. I'm like,
but it only became a dump.
That's good.
It only
he's
became
up the city.
It only became a dump after the Chitauri invasion, though. After they came down and like wrecked everything. It was nice, like just a couple of years ago, and it's not like, oh, I live in this dump and I just can't accept it. It's like I think she just
that's
holding
the thing.
on.
Like Kingpin is the guy who's trying to rebuild the city.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so some aliens knock it down in the next Avengers movie.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, he wants to rebuild the city, but the way he's going about it, it's not. It's like,
well, you know,
I mean, you could say the same thing in The Godfather, where it's like,
you
the Godfather's
can't make an omelet
everything
without
in check.
breaking some heads. I mean, eggs.
Oh yeah, beat me to it. I was 1 second away. But like a lot like The Godfather, like you could argue what he's doing is good because it's for the better of his family and for the better of the city. And no, he's straight up murdering people. He's controlling people through violence and fear. And I get that like what Kingpin wants to do is a good thing, but he's going about it the wrong way. And I still like understood him. And I still was like, wow, I really sympathize with this character, unlike any other villain I've really ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I actually do care about what happens to you, and I actually do care if you get to be with Vanessa, and I actually do care about your whole thing with the White Wall and your backstory with your father.
He is doing more to clean up the city than Daredevil is.
He is.
He's rebuilding the slums.
The end result is great.
He's gotten rid of all the Russians that were doing that slavery, something Daredevil couldn't do. Like,
The end
really,
result
Daredevil
is
should be
great,
working with him.
No, the end result is great, but you have to think about what he's doing in order to get that. He's human. There's human trafficking. There's
Yeah.
murder.
He's
There's
killing
murdering.
people.
There's murdering innocent old ladies.
Yeah, he's willing to kill people to make the city what he thinks it should be. Very much
That's
like
a
Daredevil
very-
was. Daredevil was willing
Daredevil
to kill
was
him
gonna
to make
he was
the
going
city
to kill
what he
one
thinks
guy.
it needs to be.
He was going to kill one guy. He was not going to. He was very conflicted about it. He wasn't shaking it off like status
You know
quo.
what?
He was very conflicted about killing the one guy.
Yeah, and that's exactly
And he
how it
decided
started
not
with
to.
Kingpin. That's
And he decided not
exactly
to.
how it started with Kingpin, wasn't it? It was
No,
just
no,
the
he-
one
no,
guy, his dad. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
he's like a mobster. That would happen to Daredevil too. He'd be a
He
blind
didn't have a conflict.
mobster.
He didn't have a conflict. That was a burst of rage, and then he just let out a demon that was like lying inside him. That was not like I really want to kill my dad because it would be good for the city and like everyone living in it, and for like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people will have their lives spared if I kill my dad right now.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
wasn't.
Daredevil was
Obviously,
thinking.
he wasn't doing
Daredevil
it to make
was
the
saving
city.
so many. Like
Hold
that's
on,
the
hold
whole
on,
thing.
hold on. Obviously, he wasn't doing it to make the city a better place. He was doing it on a smaller scale of making his home a better place. That's so in a smaller scale in a child's version, he was doing basically the same thing as he has as Kingpin now. So he and Daredevil are actually pretty similar in that way.
That is true. Daredevil and Kingpin are like two sides of the same coin. Although I will always say that while I can see where they're coming from, like that's what he's saying. Like you said, he wants to make his home a better place.
Yeah.
While I can see where he's coming from, and like they do have almost the same ideologies, the way that they carry out those ideologies are completely different. With Kingpin is definitely in the wrong. I don't think anyone's like Kingpin's right, except for you apparently, because you're like a sadist. But I don't. Nobody. Okay, no sane person. Let's say that is going out of there saying yes, Kingpin's the good guy.
I'm just stating the fact. Until the final episode, Kingpin did more to clean up the city than Daredevil did.
Plus, there's the whole mental breakdown in the final episode where he's like, I don't care about the city at all. And where he's beating Daredevil. And like, that's like, you could say maybe he's mad, but I think when he's mad, he loses control. That's what he really meant. Those were his true words. That he doesn't care about the city and then he wants it to burn. Just like his father and just like Daredevil. He wants it all to go to hell.
Yeah, well, that's because, that's because his best friend had been killed. His, girlfriend had almost been killed. From his point of view, someone went after his mother too. So he was like, to hell with this city. Try to do a good thing and everyone keeps coming after me.
But he's not. That's the thing, is that he has such a twisted personality, but yeah, he's got to go stare at a white painting some more, so whatever.
Yeah. So
that was really good. I love that white painting, by the way. That's some really good symbolism. I love that.
You know something else I was thinking about, though? I was like, how does Daredevil get around the city?
He runs. He does parkour.
Yeah.
Remember the one scene where he's tracking the car by the music it's playing? They're playing classical music so he can track it. And he's doing parkour. Like he runs down an alley and like leaps up a fire escape.
But no matter how good you are at parkour, you can't keep up with cars and things like that.
Well, he is trained by ninjas.
Just doing that, I was like...
He's trained by ninjas.
Again,
okay, but
Batman has a car, he has a plane, he has all this stuff.
But here's the thing. If we said it was Batman,
around.
If we said it was Batman, or let's just say that the Batwing and the Batmobile are out of condition right now, if we just said that was Batman in the role and he was doing it on foot, nobody would question it.
No, that's because he has a grappling hook and he can glide.
Let's say he doesn't have a grappling hook and he can't glide. Let's say if he could only run, people would still be like, because he's Batman. There's a little bit of suspension of disbelief there, but like it was never so bad. Like it wasn't like 2003 Daredevil where he like jumps 200 feet,
where like, CGI just goes boing,
or like he jumps down a building and lands on a window washer thing and somehow doesn't like break his legs immediately, even though he just dropped like 20 stories. It was never something like that where it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. It was always like, even though it's like, if you're realistic, you think about it, you're like,
because it was.
But you could say the same thing for anything in Marvel. You could say the same thing for the Hulk or Iron Man or whatever.
Yeah, but I did wonder that though, because like until we had that parkour scene, I was wondering that. I was like, how does he get around the city so fast? I was like, he's obviously not driving because he can't see.
There's a Daredevil. There's a Dare. Well, he can see. He can smell the cars.
Yeah.
He can smell the cars.
I guess he has to drive with the windows down so he can smell everything.
Yeah, I smell the rubber. I have to use external air conditioning only.
Yeah, I do think Daredevil's played very well by.
Oh, Charlie Cox.
What's the guy's name? Charlie
Cox.
He's fantastic.
He's been great. He was in I really forgot about him, but he was really great in another Matthew Vaughn film, Stardust. He was really great in that. He was the main guy in that. If just quick second right here, if anyone hasn't seen Stardust, look up Stardust 2007 right now. You'll really enjoy that movie. I guarantee it. Okay, and he was also in The Theory of Everything, the one that Eddie Redmayne just won an Oscar for, the Stephen Hawking movie. Oh, yeah. He was kind of a dick that stole Stephen King's not Stephen King, Stephen Hawking's wife. He was kind of that douche.
Well, he stole his wife. He's a really
good actor.
Man.
Yeah, it's you got to see that movie. But
he's great. He's really good.
He's like I'm still his face is a bit weird for the role. Like when I heard that he was announced, my biggest thing was like cast an actual redhead or dye his hair red. But honestly, I really don't mind now because I think his hair's a bit weird. There's some other stuff going on about him, but his voice, like just the man's voice, he is definitive Daredevil. Like I think his voice to Daredevil is what Kevin Conroy is to Batman. Like it's literally just Daredevil's voice come on screen, especially like he can just sell any scene. Like I think there was the scene where he was in court and he was making that anagram. He was making that analogy to pornography. And it's just like, it's law mumbo jumbo. I hate that stuff, but he was just so compelling and he just had such a captivating voice that it's just, he was perfect. He was perfect for the role.
Maybe I'm boring, but I'd actually like to see him doing more lawyering. You know?
I would too.
I'd like to see him do more of that. But I did notice, like, with the performance though, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Ben Affleck did do the blind thing better than that guy.
At times.
I know he had contact lenses so that it looked like it didn't focus, but even like the way he moves, like I noticed with this guy, like there's a scene where he's cooking breakfast, and it's like if he's going to reach over to the right to grab some butter, I notice he'll like turn his head and look to the butter that he's going to grab. And I'm like, a blind guy wouldn't do that. They just stare ahead and reach to the side and grab it.
Smell the butter. Because the thing about Daredevil in 2003...
But still, there's a certain way that blind people move, even though he can smell everything. But he's not
blind. Because he sees. Remember, he sees?
I know, but he's pretending to be blind.
No, but that's the thing.
People would have noticed. I would have noticed.
Was he by himself?
Why are you looking at things if you're blind?
Was he by himself? Or was he cooking in front of somebody?
No, he was cooking. It was a scene where he was cooking breakfast for that nurse chick.
But she knows he's Daredevil. She knows he can do that.
Not at that point, she didn't. Not at that point, she didn't.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. That's how they meet. He winds up in a dumpster. She pulls him out. She knows him. She knows he's Daredevil straight from the beginning. Okay. That's why you were not paying attention.
But still, what you don't if he's no, still, he was. You don't need to turn your head. He wouldn't do that.
Things. But he because he needs the smell. Because the thing about Daredevil 2003 is the way that they portrayed it is that he only has a radar sense and he only hears. But like how Daredevil actually works, well, it changes. But the one that I like is he doesn't have super hearing. What he's developed, and in this show they do it right, where they say it's not a thing from the chemicals, it's a thing that anyone can do, but blind people are more commonly able to do it because they don't rely on their vision, which is the sense that we rely on most. But the whole thing is that he doesn't really have enhanced senses. He more has a sixth sense, which is an enhancement of all those senses combined, and he can sort of turn that sixth sense on or off. So that's the thing, is that he doesn't need to. He's turning his head because he's using all of his senses. He's using his smell and his taste. He can smell which direction things are in. So it's kind of like he's seeing with his nose. It's really weird.
Yes, but he can't read a newspaper. Okay, he can't read a newspaper.
Why does he turn and look at a TV screen? This is going to sound like comic book bullshit, but he can feel where the ink is.
Dude,
he can feel where the ink is and where there isn't, because his tactile sense, which is the sense of
well,
touch,
he'd have to touch it, yeah, but
is
like,
so advanced that he can.
Dude, there's a scene in the bar when the TV's on, and one time he turns around and looks at the screen. He's blind. He can't see the screen.
That's a bit pushing it. There's another one where it's like he's watching a video on the thing, and I'm like, why is he watching it? He should be listening to it, but why? Because he can see where the screen is. Can't see what's on the screen.
Yeah.
He can. Like, he might be able to be like, oh,
even though you say like you say, he uses all his other senses so he can like paint a picture in his head. But I still did catch the actor doing motions that you wouldn't imagine he would do.
Yeah, he does know what color things are sometimes, because he can tell what. Because this is like super like, oh, you're pushing it, where he can feel the amount of heat that's being reflected off the surface, so he knows exactly what color is being emitted, but he can't do that with the screen. So it's like, he can't see color on the screen, so why even look at it? But I did notice that he did a very good job. Other than that was probably just a few goofs, but he did some very good scenes where like he was talking to Karen Page, and he's like pretending to be blind. You see him like reaching out for stuff, pretending that he needs to look for things, and it's not like, whoa, because he could have done a very like, where am I thing, but it's very subtle. It's a very like, as if someone's been accustomed to just a slight little tap with his fingers to see where he is. It's very subdued.
Well, like blind people often, like when they put stuff down, like they got a cup and they're like, put it on the table. They don't just put it on the table. They very much go and like really place it down hard, sort of thing, because they want to try to remember where it is. So like he could have like, hopefully he'll like progress his performance and he'll start using things like that when he's pretending to be blind, basically.
Yeah. But also another thing about 2003, because you're praising Daredevil, Ben Affleck, blind eyes. There are some scenes where he goes completely cross-eyed and looks like a derp. He literally makes derp face so many times in that movie. So sometimes Benedict, I was gonna call him Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Affleck. Sometimes he does the blind thing really well. Other times, not so much. But you know what? That movie overall is a piece of shit. So I don't even know why we're praising it in any way whatsoever. Like, you remember that playground fight scene? That was my favorite part of the movie.
That was also
I like that.
stupid.
I like that scene where like Daredevil murders a guy in cold blood and like lets him get cut in half by a train.
Yeah, then he spends the rest of the movie saying, "I'm not the bad guy." It's like, yeah, you kind of are.
Yeah, you are. Kind of are. And also, I gotta like draw this giant gasoline double D in the thing, kind of like what Batman did Dark Knight Rises. I really hope like they did a thing in Nostalgia Critic where it's like what if nobody noticed that and like the crime scene clears up and someone just like throws a cigarette butt down and just
flames.
Like bursts into flames. Who the hell is DD? But yeah, no, it's so dumb. But we're back to the show.
But see, again, even with Ben Affleck's Daredevil, he does the no-killing thing, but he doesn't have a Commissioner Gordon.
He doesn't do the no-killing thing.
It's in everything or nothing.
By a train.
Either kill all of the bad guys, or have a cop to hand them over to.
Train.
Yeah, that's true.
He killed him. That's death. That's like the whole thing with Batman Begins, where it's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. That's the same thing.
Like, you kind of do, man.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you have a choice, it's the same thing.
What about Foggy? Do you like Foggy? I think Foggy's alright, actually.
He's been getting a lot of bad rap. A lot of people are like, I don't like Foggy. I thought he was fine. I thought he was funny when he needed to be. He wasn't overplayed, and I think people wanted Foggy to be very comedic, and he was a real person. Like, he was funny, but like all these terrible things are happening around him. He's like, I can't make jokes about these. And I liked Foggy. Like, I was like, okay. But I really wasn't sold on his character until we had the flashback scenes to him when he and Matt were in college.
Yeah, that was good.
I think that's what really sold me, because I'm like, oh, these guys really are friends. And they do that whole thing where like friends kind of like and they kind like they did very much talk like friends. They had that sort of speech, like it wasn't like all planned out. Like it was very, do you know what I'm saying? Like they did have a very friendly relationship in a way that you can't really describe unless you're talking to your best friend. And I did like that they had the whole like avocados at law, where like Foggy can't speak Spanish that well and he messes it up and it becomes like an inside joke. I like that fleshed out the character so much. And once we saw all those scenes, it sold me on Foggy. but I
Yeah.
still liked him before.
Yeah, I totally like him too. But you know what is this is funny because we just did the Age of Ultron thing, and it was you bringing up a lot of the criticism, me defending it, and now we're here Daredevil, and I'm criticizing it. You're defending it.
If we are about to do the Age of Ultron thing, we don't know. There's no specified time loop. What? Continue. I interrupted you. That was very rude of me. Continue.
But yeah, allow me to be devil's advocate again, or Daredevil's advocate again.
Oh, Foggy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for that one. But yeah, like I remember the very first episode with Foggy and Daredevil, and Daredevil or Murdoch, he's in Murdoch mode. He goes, "We only defend innocent people," and Foggy says, "Well, I believe that everyone is innocent until they're proven guilty in a court of law, as the law states." And I thought about it, and I was like, actually, yeah, he's kind of right. You know, like the reason that we have a judge and a jury and a trial is to determine if someone is guilty or not. And Daredevil's just like, I'm going to be the judge and jury and decide even without a trial because I can hear your heartbeat.
That's the thing. I have a problem with that because he says that, but then that's not actually what he does. Because then there's that whole thing where that one woman who like made a porno when she was a teenager, and they're using that to blackmail her so they can like get her to swing the jury.
Yeah,
he's defending his client that he knows is guilty, and like he makes it. He does like a that was one of the courtroom scenes I was saying where he does really well, where he does a great job of getting his client off. And then as soon as his client is found innocent, he goes out and beats the shit out of him.
And the guy ends up shoving his own face through a spike.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want Kingpin to come after his family.
That makes much more sense. And I think they should do that and not keep we only defend innocent people. Because here's the thing. If you're the lawyer of somebody guilty, and you're like the best lawyer in town, well, you have all the information you need from them. Yeah. Non-disclosure. They just spilled all the beans. You get them off scot-free, then you go vigilante up and beat the shit out of them and use all the information against them later. But it makes so much more sense.
I took issue with it more from like, I know this is going to sound like I'm suddenly talking about Law and Order or whatever, but
yeah, we're going to relate this
going back to Batman, okay? Going back to Batman again is like he'll beat up the criminals, hand them over to Commissioner Gordon, whatever. But they still get a trial. They still get a fair trial and due process and all the rest of it. But Daredevil, by refusing to represent people who he thinks is guilty, even though they haven't had a trial yet, he's kind of stuffing up the whole justice system, isn't he? Because it's not the lawyers.
He's just one lawyer. He's just one lawyer.
It's not the lawyer's job to decide if someone's guilty or not. It's the judge's job to judge if the person's guilty or not.
Well, it's the jury's job.
The lawyer's job is to question the validity of the evidence, and that's very important. So when I was watching it, I was like, I think he would do more good if he just focused on being a lawyer. You know, then he'd just be like a Harvey Dent before he went crazy. You know, he's kind of wrecking the justice system.
Well, he still needs to be a vigilante at points, but I do think it should be lawyer 90, Daredevil 10. I do think that he should I do want to see him more in the courtroom. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, no, I want fight scenes. But I do think that, like realistically, he should be a little bit in the courtroom more often than not. Besides, he's not going to do that.
What he is doing, though...
Because he defended a person that he knew was guilty, so that throws his whole moral thing out the window. He'll totally do that, even though he said he wouldn't.
Yeah, but even more so, because what he is doing is he's becoming judge, jury, and, well, not executioner, but he's doing that all on his own, and I've lost my train of thought. I can't remember.
Well, he's not. Well, I mean, he's not. I mean, he's not sentencing people. He's not killing people. He's not. So, I mean, I mean, theoretically, unless they're being killed in the line of fire, they're all still getting trials.
I remember what I was going to say. I remember. Look, he's being judge, jury, and executioner, and he's basing it all off that he's a human lie detector. So he's like, I can say I won't defend guilty people because I know if you're guilty because I can hear.
But he will defend guilty people.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's judging people as guilty or innocent based off being a lie detector. But lie detectors are not admissible in court because they're not reliable. So I was like, dude, you're judging people and beating up people based off a lie detector, which can't even be admissible in a court of law because if someone's a good liar, they can trick it. Or if they're stressed or something like that.
Thing is that he's like better than a lie. I think there's a whole thing like he's better than a lie detector because Stick trained him and all that stuff. So I do get that, but I mean,
What
he'll
a
defend.
terrible person.
Yeah, he'll defend. Like we've already said, like I've already said this like 50 million times. He will defend guilty people. So like that entire thing is irrelevant anyway, because he totally will. He says, "I'll only defend you." Actually, I think that's a line from the 2003 version. I'm not so sure if that was in the Daredevil show.
Yeah,
You might
and
be taking that from
somebody
2000.
has to defend, the other side in courtroom, don't they?
Yeah, somebody.
That's important. You need to have
That's the whole
someone
thing.
to
He's a
defend.
defense lawyer. That's the entire thing. The
Yeah.
prosecutors, though, he's not a prosecuting
What,
lawyer.
what if
He's
every lawyer said that? Was like, I'm only going to defend people I think is innocent. Well, what if someone's like framed of a crime and no one wants to defend them? Like, no.
Well,
You need to have lawyers to defend guilty people.
that doesn't work because the whole thing is those are private lawyers, which is what Nelson and Murdoch are. They have their own firm, but they have the right to turn them down. But if everyone turns them down, they can't get a lawyer. Then the state will appoint them one. That's the whole thing. Like if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. So they do have but those are shit. Those are like stock.
Yeah,
those are like stock
that's at least, but that at least gives validity to the sentence because you can say, well, they had a chance to defend themselves because they got a lawyer, even if they can't afford one.
You can represent yourself if you want to.
But see, Daredevil is kind of like throwing a spanner in all that works.
I guess, but I mean, honestly,
so I'm getting really caught up in this whole thing.
It's not like he's the only lawyer in New York.
No,
like New York is a big law city. Like if he refuses to one guy, they can always go to the next. So I get like what you're saying is
just in
what he's
principle,
doing isn't the best idea,
doing.
but I don't think he's really like disrupting the law system by refusing someone. He's just one lawyer.
Yeah, only one person, but in principle, what he's doing is undermining the whole justice system.
Mm-hmm. Because he needs to give justice
he's
with
refusing
his fists.
to
He needs to give justice with his
people.
fists.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that as well. I'm totally team Kingpin. We gotta stop that maniac.
I have no idea why he's even doing it. Like, is there? Oh wait, no, that's right. They did give a reason why he became a crime fighter. That's right. Because I was gonna say, because unlike the 2003 version, which I want to praise one thing about the 2003 version. I think they did the origin a little bit better in some aspects, where how it all became very like Shakespearean with the dad, where how it was he saw the dad beating up some guy because the dad was like low on cash, so he became like a hired thug.
Man.
And you didn't like that?
No, I liked it. Yeah,
I liked that it was his dad that caused the accident, which is another reason for why the dad would want to win for his son, because like it's his fault that his son is blind now and like was in that accident. I actually liked a lot of that. But the thing about that was because it was the Kingpin who killed him, because the Kingpin was like, you didn't go along with this is like status quo, blah blah blah. Although the Kingpin in the 2003 version is much more simplified, basically a cardboard cutout compared to the one in the show. But the whole thing was that his dad was like, much like Bruce Wayne's parents being murdered, it was this catalyst for becoming who he was. And in here, it was kind of just like an event. Like it's like all these other things happened. Also, my dad died. It had no effect on him becoming a crime fighter.
But it was also, I like that bit that he said that because of his hearing, he can like hear whenever a crime's going on, and he couldn't ignore it anymore. Remember, he tells Foggy that story about
the dad that was doing some gross stuff too.
Yeah, was molesting his daughter or something. So he's like, so I beat the guy up.
I also said in my review how weird it is that because I was just thinking about it. I'm like pedophilia exists in the same universe as like Howard the Duck and a talking raccoon. Like that's just like what? Yeah. Like I can't process. And it was really funny because when I was doing a review for my Daryl thing, I kept screwing up that line. So I had to say pedophilia really loudly, like 7 times. I was really concerned that my neighbors I was like, I'm sorry that I had to scream pedophilia like 7 times, people.
See, now, if your neighbor was Daredevil, he'd bust in and beat you up.
He just did.
Because he is judge, jury, and executioner. He'd be like, you're guilty. Yeah. I know. I can hear your heart beating real fast, and you're like, that's because I'm scared.
I smelled you say pedophilia. you're going down. I smelled it.
Yeah, but that's true. Yeah, he's like, that guy was molesting his daughter, so I beat him up. Problem solved. Not really. He'll probably just keep doing it. But anyway.
Well, I mean, he said like if you do it, because he said like if you do it, I will know and I will come back and I will finish the job.
Yeah, so the guy will probably just move somewhere else and keep doing it. So
yeah, well, apparently,
see, again,
yeah.
Get a Commissioner Gordon that you can hand these people over to.
Mm-hmm. But
anyway,
that's
what
he should have done. He should have gathered evidence and then turned it into the police. But whatever. And that was the whole reason that he became a crime fighter, was because of that incident with the dad. That's why he like started wearing a mask and like beating the shit out of people.
Let me ask you, what do you think of the character? I can't remember his name. The newspaper guy,
Ben Urich.
Yeah, what'd you think of him? Do you like him?
I like him. It's a shame that he died.
Yeah, I like him
season
too.
1, because also he's a big Spider-Man player. He's one of the few reporters that's like, hey, J. Jonah Jameson, maybe you should stop shitting on Spider-Man because he's a really good guy and you should give him a break. And he and Peter Parker have like a real close relationship. But I guess because they filmed all the Daredevil stuff before Marvel had access to Spider-Man again, so he was not working at the Daily Bugle. It was called I think it was called like the Daily Sun.
Yeah.
Whatever. He had a couple of references to other Avengers movies. I think he had a report on the New York invasion. He also had a newspaper of when the Hulk was running and like breaking down Harlem in Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I liked his character though. I thought he was interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was. Yeah. He had that sort of skeptical voice, kind of like what I have about the show, where the girl's like, "We got to get him," and he's like, "Do you really think it's worth it?" You know, remember he'd always have those conversations with her. He's like, "Yeah, we can do it. You might end up dead though. You need to ask if it's really worth it." And then he finally
goes through it. He finally goes through it, and
he gets beaten up by the Kingpin and gets strangled.
He gets strangled to death. Yeah, by the Kingpin, and it was just because he followed Karen, and he's like, you know what, you're right. That's the thing. I think that was another thing is that people die because they're the only ones who try to do the right thing. It's a very similar to what they said in 2002 Spider-Man. Uncle Ben died because he was the only one who did the right thing, and that's very much a constant theme in the Marvel universe, where people who try to do the right thing usually end up dead. It's a very tragic thing, but that's the thing, is that he basically lets all these things go by and he doesn't care, and he's like, I don't care, and then he finally does the morally right thing, and it costs him his life. Yeah. And the whole thing is was it worth it? Because in the end, that did make the world a better place. It cost him his life, but he did stop this horrible madman that was doing crazy things. Yeah. So
called Daredevil.
I don't know.
No, I mean Kingpin. Yeah.
I think it could have been. I think it could have been better if we focused more on him and less on his wife.
Yeah.
Because his wife didn't really need to be there.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that she's not going to be in it much anymore. So I was like, yeah.
There's no reason for her to be there anymore. But but she didn't do anything really. There's she has dementia. But not really, because she'll have it for this one episode and then be fine for the rest of the season. I think if you cut out all the scenes with her and Ben Urich and just kept it as Ben Urich talking to somebody, then it would have been fine. That's the thing. I loved the scenes between Ben Urich and Daredevil, not Matt Murdock, but just Daredevil while he's Daredevil. Those were great. Yeah. Those were some of the best scenes. But unfortunately, we didn't get them because we have to have fake self-curing Alzheimer's disease wife taking up the screen time.
Yeah, there's a lot of Alzheimer's, isn't there? Because she's got Alzheimer's, and Kingpin's mom has Alzheimer's. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Maybe, I don't know. But it was funny because in that last episode, there was a scene where he's talking to that girl. I keep forgetting her name. You know her name, the blonde chick.
Karen Page.
Well, he's talking to her, and he has a moment, and he goes, why do you even need me? He goes, just put it on the internet. And I thought, oh my god, I hadn't even thought of that.
Just put it on the internet.
But I was just dox it.
Well, the whole thing is they needed his name.
Everything on the internet,
they needed
anonymously.
His name. They needed credibility, so they needed his name. That was the thing. They wanted him, because it's he's a symbol
Yeah, but I hadn't even thought of that, and I was like,
Because
yeah, if you're worried about Kingpin killing you, just put it anonymously on the internet and just email it to everyone.
well, then
Like,
it loses
all cops, and
credibility.
someone will go.
Well, then it's just somebody's telling a story. The whole reason they wanted Ben Urich to do it is because Ben Urich used to do that like nobody's business. He used to just
Yeah.
like take down things and just expose everyone.
But,
And he was
but
like a
by that
hotshot
point-
reporter.
But by that point, they had some pretty solid evidence against Kingpin. If you emailed that to like all the FBI, somebody would at least look into it.
Well, they did,
You know?
and then the FBI looked into it, and then it was like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was also a mind blower.
It's
Where
just
it
a
turns out
shame
it
he put
wasn't.
his name on it, because if he hadn't, he probably wouldn't be dead.
Yeah, it wasn't his asshole boss. It was the girl. It was the secretary. That was crazy. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wait, what?
How was that boss's beard? That was an epic beard he had.
His beard?
Yeah.
You're talking about his beard, not the fact that he. Okay. Yeah, it was a nice beard.
Yeah,
And that was really
right.
weird because he did seem very much like I was like from the minute I was like he's on Kingpin's payroll. But then on the other hand,
I
it makes
didn't
much
think he
more
was.
sense.
He didn't strike me as a villain, that guy. So I was surprised when he's
I didn't
like,
think he was a villain. I just think he was like a hey, this is a thing. You just got to deal with it.
yeah,
But it makes a lot of sense that it was the secretary because she would inevitably be involved in all the things that her boss would, but she sees everything. and
yeah,
nobody
she can
sees
be
her.
like the fly on the wall type of thing.
Exactly, because nobody pays attention to that. Nobody considers her. So that was really interesting, and
How-
I do really love that scene where the FBI, where it's all slow motion, and there's just opera playing, blasting in the background, just the FBI just rounding up everybody. That was beautiful.
That was a really good scene. Yeah. How was like what? I was actually surprised like how graphic so many of the fight scenes are, which is great. I love that.
Mhm.
But I didn't
Oh,
expect
Nobu.
like the fight
fight
scenes to
with
be that
Nobu?
gory, but it's awesome.
The fight with Nobu the ninja, where Daredevil basically almost gets murdered,
Yeah.
and there's just chains just ripping out pieces of his flesh.
Yeah, even where he like hooks him in the ribs and then he drags him across the floor. I
That was
like, "Oh,
brutal,
man."
but for me, I'm like, okay, that's Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't care. Like, I still was like, wow, that's brutal for Marvel to do, but I was never like, ooh. What
Mm.
really got me
They're great fight scenes.
was
though.
episode 2. It was episode 2, the torture scene. The scene where the doctor's just like, by the way, just stick this needle into this nerve in his eye and it will drive him crazy.
Yeah.
And he just does that and he just tortures the guy. That's what got me. I was like, no, I don't like needles going into eyes or anything. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
That was because you don't even see any gore there, but like just the way that they filmed it was like, no,
it was brutal.
please. It was so hard to watch.
I'm trying to remember though. Why did he need to do that? Because if he's a lie detector, he shouldn't actually need to talk to the guy.
Because he
Was it just to
didn't-
get him to say something so he could tell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't need to know if what he was saying was true. He needed him to say something at all. Like he needed him to say something.
I needed him to give information. Yeah.
That reminds me. I do love all those other interrogation scenes where he just like as soon as someone says something that's a lie,
He just punches him in the face.
Just punches him in the face. I love
Breaks
how fast
arms.
the
And,
interrogations go, and they just realize, oh, I have to actually be truthful. Because like
What?
with Batman, you'll have like I'm gonna hold you against the ledge. I just love the punch to the face, punch to the face, punch to the face. Tell me the truth. Okay. Oh, you're
and
lying
one
again?
more punch in the face.
I just love that so much.
What about when Kingpin like decapitates that guy with a car door?
The Russian in the God,
He's just like,
that-
"Ah!" and he's just
I like how
slamming
Wesley.
his
I
head
like
on
how
the-
Wesley. It wasn't so much that; it's how Wesley's just so calm about it, and he's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I better move over. Oh, I'm gonna get out of the car. It's getting kind of
Wesley,
gross."
I was surprised at like how sad I was when Wesley died.
Oh, I wasn't. I was like, "I'm ready for this dude to die."
Really? Because I kind of liked him. I was like when she grabs the gun off the table and he's like, "Do you think I'd leave that
security
there?"
guard? And he's like, we're gonna kill your daughter unless you kill Karen Page," and then they murder him. And
Yeah. But yeah, I actually found myself kind of grieving for him. I was like, "Oh, I like that Wesley dude."
oh no, I wanted it. I mean, he was fun, but I wanted him to die. I was like, okay,
you didn't like
he
him? You thought he was too official?
yeah. What
Yeah.
I felt when I felt bad for the villain, it was when Kingpin didn't make it to the chopper, and Vanessa was just sitting there waiting for him, and then when she realizes, oh, he's not coming,
Hmm.
and like she looks at the ring for a second, and I was almost dead certain that she's gonna leave the ring on the ground, and if she had left the ring on the ground, like if she had just put the ring down and abandoned and got in the chopper, I
Hmm.
would have been like, nope, too many feels. I can't take this.
Yeah.
This is no. I would have felt genuinely. I would have been like King. I would have been on Kingpin's side. But it
Yeah.
was nice that she like takes the ring and she puts it on her finger. So it's like, oh, she'll be waiting for him when he gets out of prison. But that was really the only moment where I was like, no, don't you do it. Don't you put that ring. Don't you pull a Fantastic Four on me, girl. Don't do that. But yeah, no, that was so emotional.
Yeah, and it was I like the interaction between like Vanessa and Kingpin too, because it's like it's amazing because it seems like heartfelt, even though when you look at like the scenes that they've had together, there haven't been very many, but they've successfully built up that we believe there's some kind of that they're like kindred spirits. Even though they haven't really been much together, it's very well done.
It's an odd connection, but it's definitely a connection. It's definitely believable. It's not your average. Like I don't believe. Oh yeah, they just love each other. Average romance.
Yeah.
Like there is a definite weird, and it's a lot of that has to do with D'Onofrio's performance overall. Because at first, in the very beginning, I didn't like his performance. At all. I was like, "What is this? His voice is dumb. It's weird."
It was
But then
weird
as you
at
get to
first,
know
but
more-
you get used to it.
As you get to like, I do like the way because
He
not even
has
just the
that strange way of talking.
yeah, but not even like just the childhood trauma, but just the way overall, like he plays it like he has some sort of, and I don't want to say like he's like full on, but he does have some sort of mental disability in a way, or like a handicap. Like there is something, like, and I don't mean to say like he's mentally challenged, but I'm saying there is. When you look at his character, you do realize, oh, like this guy has something.
Yeah, it's
like
he's. I think it's a bit of like autism, kind of.
Yeah,
You know, where it's like he doesn't quite understand like social scenarios
that's
and
the
things.
weird thing because autism is such a wide spectrum though. So it was a very peculiar thing because like some people have autism and you have no idea they're completely normal, except maybe for like one aspect that you wouldn't really think about.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing more of like we saw like the flashback of him killing his dad, and like now we know him as an adult. But I'm looking forward to seeing like flashbacks of more of how he sort of became the person he is today.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah, like he talks about when he was in Italy. I want to see like what he learned when he was in Italy. Like maybe he got involved with the mafia and they taught him stuff. Or
he's got to kill somebody. Someone's got to make fun of him for being fat, and he's just got to murder somebody. Because like he snapped and he killed his dad, but I want to see where he becomes like just a guy who like snapped to like full blown psycho. Like I want to see. So and you could potentially do
Plus,
that.
he can speak Chinese, and it's like, where did he learn that? You know, like I want to find all that stuff out. That'd be great.
Speaking of Chinese, another thing that we should probably talk about. What about that whole supernatural element with the Chinese?
That was a little bit peculiar.
Because that is definitely set up for Iron Fist.
Okay,
but it was like it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough where it's like where any casual person would be like, "Oh, that's definitely setting up for Iron Fist." But it was enough where you'd look at it and you'd be like, "Well, that was weird. Wonder why that was there."
Who's Iron Fist?
Iron Fist. He's like a magic guy. He like punched the dragon with his fist, and he's magic. You should look him up. Very magic based. A lot of the stuff with like Doctor Strange, but very Asian centric.
Was he the guy that we saw Stick like reporting to?
No, that was what's his face? I think it's the Stone or something, or Stone something. Stone whatever. But it's weird because he was reporting to Stick was reporting to him, but in the comics it's the exact opposite, where Stick is the master.
Yeah.
Because I do think they're building up on the whole ninja thing. Because
definitely. There's a lot more stuff going on.
Well, because they were members of the Chast. And the whole thing is that the Chast is an offshoot of the Hand, and the Hand is like an ancient ninja clan that used to be protectors of like good, but then they became very greedy and started serving their own purposes and became like a crime thing. And they're what the Foot is based off of in Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
because that's an
Splinter is based off Stick. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole like the mutagen that turned the turtles into turtles is supposedly the same mutagen that
hit Daredevil in the face.
Daredevil in the eyes. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is just one giant homage to Daredevil. So, but basically, the Hand was like a force for good, and then they became the Foot, like the Foot Clan. Anyone seen the OG 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's basically what the Hand is, except much, much worse.
Mm.
And they're not just gonna like steal stereos for reasons. For reasons. Oh, we gotta steal some
We're
TVs.
gonna take over the city by stealing lots of stuff.
We're gonna steal lots of, like, you can get rich, but like what? I don't understand what. We gotta get some kids. We gotta get a redhead and a bandana to disrespect his father and steal a TV and a Walkman. But and then the Chast, basically the Chast, even though Stick's an asshole and you could definitely think he's a bad guy.
Oh
the
yeah,
Chast
he's a
is kind of
total
like,
jerk. That guy.
he's a jerk. He is a jerk, but there's a reason for it, and I do want to get into that. But he's like, they're the good guys. They're the guy. The Chast is like, we don't believe in this. We're gonna split off because you've disgraced what the Hand used to be, and so they split off and become their own thing. And a lot of the reason, like, why a lot of people don't like Stick is I thought a lot of people didn't understand why he did what he did, because a lot of people look at Stick, and obviously the thing we're talking about is when he abandons Daredevil, when he abandons him as a child and never comes back. And a lot of people think that it's because he's cold and uncaring, but I think that it's because of the exact opposite. Because
he doesn't want to have that connection of someone he cares
doesn't,
about.
because when Matt gives him the bracelet, gives him the ice cream cone bracelet, he's like, I can't do this. Like, this kid is like seeing me as a father, and the whole reason he was training Daredevil wasn't just because, oh, I gotta train this blind kid because I want to help him. The whole reason he wanted to train Matt Murdock is because he wanted to train him to become his protege to replace him in the upcoming war between the Chast and the Hand, because stuff's gonna go down. But he realized, like, I can't do this. I can't, like, send this kid to, like, there's too much of an emotional connection. So I wasn't sure if it was, like, it's a part of because Matt wasn't ready to become a soldier, and also the fact that he wasn't ready to possibly risk losing Matt. He's just like, no, I gotta leave. I can't do this.
I also kind of saw it as that
because he kept the bracelet. Remember, he gives it back to him as an adult. He's like, here. So he did hold on to it for all those years.
I think he also did that because he knew that, like, okay, I'm developing, like, an emotional attachment to this kid, and that's dangerous because that can then be used against me. Because, like, you can't threaten Stick, but if you know Stick cares about this kid, you can, threaten the kid to control Stick. So he's like, I can't allow this.
Well, also just the fact that he was literally breeding him for war. He's like, I can't take him, because even if he wasn't being controlled, I don't think Stick was willing to take Matt into that war knowing that he might lose him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
And just the fact that Matt wouldn't be ready to lose Stick. So he's like, I might as well just abandon you so you hate me instead of having me die just like your dad.
Yeah. But that was a great fight scene between the two of them.
The kid actor
beat the
out of each other. I was about to say the kid was pretty good martial art. Like, that was convincing.
Oh yeah,
the adult fight was great too. That was amazing.
Yeah. Hey, do you reckon?
I don't think anything will top the fight with the Russians though. The one take, the one that was done in one shot.
Oh, in the corridor, yeah.
That was the best. But yes, the Stick fight was also fantastic.
Do you reckon that's the actor doing that, or do you reckon whenever
it was
there's a fight scene?
No, it was definitely stunt double.
Yeah,
you could see through the mask and all that stuff. So
yeah,
but
once he puts
still
the mask
very
on,
impressive.
just hire an MMA fighter who's like the same height.
He did some stunts. He wanted to do a couple of them, especially in close-ups. But yeah, no, that was still an impressive shot. I don't care if it's a stunt double. Like, do you know how hard that is to get that in one take?
Yeah.
What else is gonna say? So yeah, there was the whole boy, and he's like, that boy isn't a boy. It's not a child. It's a monster, and you should have let me kill it.
Yeah,
that was
like,
another
it's
thing.
A thing. He called it the thing.
That was another thing that was leading up to Iron Fist, which is going to be another thing between the Hand and the Chast, and maybe Daredevil season 2. Because that's the thing, unlike the movies where it's like, okay, you have this progression, we're probably going to get a Daredevil 2 before we see all the Defenders get their own TV series. Because it's going to be a yearly show. That's the thing.
Probably what they'll do in season 2 is if the Hand is trying to attack the city, it might end up that, like...
the Defenders?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking it might be like Daredevil might need to sort of team up with Kingpin to help defend the city against the Hand.
That's a possibility.
Because like Kingpin would not like somebody else moving in on the city. He would defend it, you know.
Well,
so
I think
they might
Kingpin's going to
form
stay
like
in prison
temporary
for a
alliance
while.
to defend the city. Yeah.
I think he's going to stay because I think the next season is really going to be an emphasis on because he was never called Kingpin in the series. They never once called him Kingpin.
No.
And I think he's really going to be stapled as the Kingpin when you realize he's still controlling everything. Because eventually Matt's going to realize I put him in prison, but somehow he's still controlling all of this. Like I solved nothing. Because that's the whole thing is that Kingpin can still maneuver and like basically control the city in prison like nothing ever happened. It's uncomfortable for him, but he still has absolute control. So I think we might see a little bit more of that. So I'm not so sure if he's going to team up with Daredevil. But another huge thing that we see with the whole supernatural thing was the old lady, the old Chinese lady. What was her name? Do you remember?
Yeah, what was that?
Because the whole thing is like because everyone was like, because what she did is Daredevil's like, okay, I'm going to attack you or I'm going to grab you and like whatever. And then she just like thrusts her palm and like throws him across the room.
Yeah, like I wasn't sure. I was like,
I think
does she have superpowers, or maybe
I'm not sure.
She's like a ninja and just pretends that she's crippled. You know,
she might be Night Mother. I don't know if Night Mother's the right name for it, but she might be Night Mother. She might not be human. Is what I'm saying.
I was surprised though that she didn't pick Daredevil was blind in that scene because she's got all the blind people in the thing.
She might have.
So she obviously knows how they move.
She just might not care. Again, she might not even be human, so she might just not even care. But another thing that I thought was really cool is they had a reference to Steel Serpent, which is an Iron Fist villain, and that was and his logo was on all like the heroin that they were shipping out, and it was called Still Serpent was the name of the product. So that was kind of funny. Serpent. Still Serpent with the logo of Steel Serpent.
Yeah.
And then and that was one of the few Easter eggs. Like there was another Easter egg where you saw like Stiltman. You could see Stiltman's stilts in the background of the workshop where that one guy of like that was another thing. Another guy with like a mental disability.
See, I didn't get any of that. I'm a DC guy, so I didn't pick up any of these things.
Oh, Stiltman. The only reason I know Stiltman is because Mr. Sunday on the Weekly Planet constantly just makes
Stiltman.
fun of Stiltman. So I'm like, I gotta look this guy up, and I look him up, and I'm like, there's no way this is real. So I was watching the show. I'm like, are those Stiltman stilts? No, no, but they were. But yeah, there was another mentally challenged guy. It was weird. He had like, and then that was another thing is that like that guy, he's like, oh, he hurts Betty, and he was like really like disabled in that scene. And then when he gives him the armor, he's like a normal person. Like, and I don't want to say normal. I guess that's not the right word. But you know, like it seems like he's all good. Like when he gave him the armor afterwards, it's like he's fine now. I don't have a mental disability anymore. I'm just gonna talk like a completely like 100% person. It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, where did your handicap go? Where did that go? But
he's probably
that's really not a big deal.
He's probably not like fully disabled.
It's just like he gets emotional or something. I don't know. But it was weird because like he was very much like, don't hurt Betty. Like don't do duh. Yeah. And then I feel terrible that I'm imitating this, but like that's what he did.
I know I'm uncomfortable having this conversation.
Yeah, but it's weird because then when he gives him the armor, he's just like, "Oh, hi, this is how I talk now. I talk completely normal and I talk like this." And it's like, "Wait, what? What?" Yeah.
Also, pretty convenient for Daredevil that he happened to be, mentally
in prime condition. Yeah, in prime. Yeah,
because if he was just a regular thug, there's no way he would agree to make that for. So it was a very favorable situation for Daredevil.
I need to make you this magical armor
suit of
thing.
Armor. Yeah,
it's magical. Wait, so it's like vibranium? No, it's not. It's like I don't even know what it was. Like it was like cloth. It's like the vibranium,
some kind of like super chainmail fabric.
It's like it's the strongest metal. Oh, adamantium? No, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that over here. That's Fox.
But he did say though that like. It'll just like it stops like slashing with knives.
Yeah.
So like he'll still get shot, or if someone stabs him directly, it'll still pierce him to an extent.
There are some points that are bulletproof. There are some points of his armor that's bulletproof.
But that suit looked fantastic. So good.
I like it. I like that his body. I'm not sold on the helmet. I do like, because everyone was like, the original one is so much more comic book accurate, and it was, but it was literally just a leather jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And this one's I wish that I want them to upgrade the helmet. I want the helmet to change. But I do like that it's a suit of armor because it's like, yes, that actually makes sense. Why would he be wearing like a skin tight leotard?
And he finally got his battens. Finally. Yeah. How did he get his battens again? I can't remember. He just sort of showed up with them, didn't he?
His battens. Is that how you say? But is that how you say baton?
Yeah, battens.
Batten. That's funny. Batten. Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess they just came with the.
He just sort of showed up, and he's like, "Now I have these things." Included. So, that's all right. We don't need a story for every bit of the suit, I guess.
Yeah, it's like wait. It's like they don't come with the suit. Batteries not included. He has to go out. Like there's the whole thing where he's ready to like launch his assault on Kingpin. Then he has to go to Walmart to go buy some nunchucks.
Yeah. Because isn't it supposed to be that that like that's actually his cane for when he's blind, so he can just slot it in and then use it as a weapon?
That's such a dumb concept, though. It's like, I don't know. It's like if like Bruce Wayne drove around his car everywhere, and it turns out there's like a super easy to push button that changes it into the Batmobile. Because it's like a little knob. Like anyone who just like tilt, like I guess you'd wonder why somebody would have their hands on it, but eventually somebody's like, that's like it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. Or to be like
you're gonna have to check it in somewhere, or something's gonna happen, and someone's gonna do it, and it's just gonna pop out into like a Daredevil thing. And it's gonna be, why is this cane now a grappling hook?
Yeah, or to be like if Superman like wore his suit like under his regular clothes.
Yeah, or if
anybody could just like bump him and rip his shirt and go, "Why are you wearing a Superman
if you wore
costume?"
glasses as if that was a disguise. That was the main thing I hated about Man of Steel. I had to go on Man of Steel 1 second, but I can't avoid it now.
Yeah,
is that they were so close to just not doing the Clark Kent thing, working at the Daily Planet. I think Man of Steel would have been infinitely better if he doesn't have a secret identity, and that the whole thing is that he's outed because people in this world aren't idiots and can recognize somebody. But that's a different story. Whatever.
Hey, you know what? I on Netflix I watched Superman Unbound the other day, and I was like, actually, that would have been
Superman Unbound.
That would have been a good story for Man of Steel.
Superman Unbound.
Sorry,
is that animated?
Oh yeah, it's an animated one. But yeah, if you watch that, I'm like, that would have worked as like a Man of Steel. But instead of like General Zod, it's like Brainiac, and it's got like Superman's cousin in it. And I was like, if they swapped that for Wonder Woman, that would have been a really good way to introduce. Anyway,
if we had someone that wasn't a super skinny Victoria's Secret model,
Anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah,
but Daredevil, fantastic! I absolutely love it, and I'm looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, and everything from the Marvel. I mean, I'm not so sure about Jessica Jones because some of the stills look a bit weird, but it's got David Tennant as the villain, as the Purple Man, and I'm so super surprised.
As long as Kingpin's in it, I'm happy.
Kingpin is not going to be in it.
No,
but it's got Carrie Ann Moss from Matrix, Trinity. She's in it.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it's got David Tennant, Doctor Who, as or the Doctor, if you want to be super anal about it. And he's the Purple Man, and the Purple Man storyline, for anyone who knows who the Purple Man is so messed up. And I'm surprised that they even like are going to bring him on the show. If they do, they're even for Netflix, they're not going to do what he did in the comics. But I'm super excited for the whole Netflix thing and Daredevil in general.
Yeah, me too. So everyone, hope you enjoyed it. If you want to watch the discussion, the spoiler discussion for Age of Ultron, click on the card in the top right corner of the screen. It's a little grayed out eye thing. You click on that, a list will pop down. It works on mobile phones. Did you know they have that now?
Oh yeah, or you could click on this.
They haven't steadily annotated.
Or you could click on this fire-breathing dragon right here, and I bring this up because now that I said it, Bandit has to put it in.
Oh, damn you, man.
So I'm making extra work for you.
Yeah, but if you go over and watch the Age of Ultron one, you'll see a fully articulated Ultron giving an introduction, which is way better than the dragon in the corner of the screen right now.
This was recorded after Age of Ultron. I don't have to do that.
Alright, so until next time, guys. I'm Bandit, this is Bandit Incorporated. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the comments.
No,